Kutoka hapo mudzaona sikulu yomwe mukufuna kulipira komanso dzina la ophunzira. Onetsetsani kuti zonse ndizolondola. Pitirirani ndi kuyika ndalama mudzalandira SMS yotsimikiza kuti zatheka.
In a world longing for light, hope and compassion, the voice of Pope Leo XIV resounds, a further call to every parish, every believer and every heart. As the Church prepares to celebrate World Mission Sunday, he reminds us that the mission is not a distant idea. It is our shared duty, our living faith in action. Now the Pope invites us to become true missionaries of hope among the peoples.
Dear brothers and sisters, on World Mission Sunday every year, the whole Church prays, united, particularly for missionaries and the fruitfulness of their apostolic labors. When I served as a missionary priest and then bishop in Peru, I saw firsthand how the faith, the prayer, and the generosity shown on World Mission Sunday can transform entire communities. I urge every Catholic parish in the world to take part in World Mission Sunday. Your prayers, your support will help spread the gospel, provide for pastoral and catechetical programs, help to build new churches, and care for the health and educational needs of our brothers and sisters in mission territories. This October 19th, as we reflect together on our baptismal call to be missionaries of hope among the peoples, let us commit ourselves anew to the sweet and joyful task of bringing Christ Jesus, our hope, to the ends of the earth. Thank you for everything you will do to help me help missionaries throughout the world. God bless you all.
As World Mission Sunday draws near, may every parish rise to this call, to pray, to give, and to go forth with hearts burning for the gospel. Together with Pope Leo XIV's blessing, let us renew our baptismal mission to carry Christ, our hope, to the very ends of the earth.
Glad to join our 7:30 news bulletin right here on Luntha TV. I'm Charity Chilanga. Let's have a look at the top stories. Pope Leo XIV emphasizes faith as source of hope for heaven at canonization mass. Chinese government forgives $20 million United States dollars debt, extends repayment by 48 years for Malawi. Newly elected members of parliament encouraged to set aside party lines for Malawi's future. And in other news, the former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga laid to rest amid political uncertainty. We do have the details to these and many other stories. Stay tuned. Pope Leo XIV has reminded the faithful that authentic prayer rooted in faith is what sustains hope in a world often clouded by suffering, violence and doubt. Celebrating Mass in St. Peter's Square on Sunday, the Holy Father marked World Mission Sunday by canonizing 7 new saints of the Church, lifting up their lives as luminous witnesses of faith who kept the flame of Christ burning brightly through trial and trust. We have a Vatican News report read by Patrick Popper.
Reflecting on Jesus' question in the Gospel, whether the Son of Man will find faith on earth, Pope Leo said, "Faith is the precious bond of love that unites God and His people and which must be nourished daily through prayer." The Holy Father described the saints as lamps who by God's grace become bearers of the light of Christ in their respective lands and circumstances. Their witness testifies that faith, lived with perseverance, becomes a source of hope not only for individuals but for entire communities. The Catholic Church leader warned that a world devoid of faith risks becoming a place without meaning, where people live like children without a father and hearts grow numb for lack of hope. In this light, he urged Christians to turn always to prayer as the breath of the soul, a source of strength in weakness and clarity in confusion. He noted that prayer is not about controlling God, but about opening one's heart to His will, especially in times of pain and uncertainty. Pope Leo pointed to the cross of Christ as the place where human suffering meets divine love. He said, God is present wherever people suffer, and that no tear or cry goes unnoticed by the Father. As the Church celebrated both the canonization and World Mission Sunday, the Pope encouraged all believers to allow faith to animate every dimension of life, from daily trials to the pursuit of justice and peace. Concluding his homily, Pope Leo entrusted the faithful to the intercession of newly canonized saints, praying that their example might strengthen the Church in her mission and renew in every heart the longing for heaven.
The National Director of the Pontifical Mission Societies, Father Ephraim Peter Madea, has praised the Catholic faithful for their continued support of the Pontifical Mission Societies. Speaking on Sunday at Nankunda Parish in the Diocese of Zomba during this year's Mission Sunday Mass, Father Madea emphasized the need for greater commitment to ensure the success of the Pope's missionary efforts. Andrew Nandolo has found this report.
During this year's Mission Sunday message, Pope Leo XIV urged Catholic faithful across the world to give generously so that the Church can continue reaching every corner of the globe. Responding to the Pope's call, Father Ephraim Peter Madea noted that the Office of the Holy See had allocated a significantly larger sum to the Catholic Church in Malawi this year compared to what was raised locally last year. He pointed out that this reflects greater contributions from other parts of the world. Father Madea went on to commend parishioners of Nankunda Parish who pledged 5 million at the launch of Mission Sunday. As of 19 October, they had already raised 4,300,000, a figure he believes will exceed the target by the end of Mission Month.
It's a sign that the Catholic Church is a universal church. We contribute very little to pontifical societies of PMS, but because of the universality nature of the church and also missionary nature of the church, that's why the Pope contributes generously to the dioceses or countries which have contributed less. As I said, we contributed $60,000 last year, but this year we have received about 900 million US dollars from the societies of the Pope. This is like a generous heart of the Holy Father, and also says something about the universality of the church, that the church is universal and it assists all the dioceses without looking at how much they have contributed. I'm very happy with what Nankunda Parish in the Diocese of Zomba has done. Nankunda Parish, first and foremost, is a small parish comparing with the other parishes we have here in Malawi. It's a parish which has 4 outstations, but today they have contributed, as of today, 4,300,000, a new parish and a small parish for that matter. I'm very happy with their contribution, and they have to keep it up in the coming contributions.
In his remarks, Father Bernard Chipole, Vicar General of Zomba Diocese, who presided over the Mass, expressed his delight, noting that he particularly impressed considering Nankunda is a relatively small parish compared to other parishes that was only established 3 years ago.
In fact, I'm greatly impressed, as you have already heard, that Nankunda Parish was established about 3 years ago, and he was given this responsibility to be torch bearers. And the Christians, in fact, have done their part, and I commend them for that. And I also hope that we may go, in fact, beyond the 5 million, the way, in fact, they are, in fact, contributing, and I think they will make it. And as we have seen, in fact, they are doing this also with the assistance of God. So I'm very hopeful that they are going to make it.
Last year, there's a diocese led in contributions with Chipanya Parish serving as the host of the Mission Month activities. This year, the honor of hosting the Mission Month has been given to Nankunda Parish in the Diocese of Zomba. Reporting from Nankunda in Zomba Diocese, this is Andrew Nandolo.
The Chinese government has cancelled approximately 20 million United States dollars in debt owed by Malawi. Chinese ambassador to Malawi, Lu Zhou, announced the move during the orientation of newly elected members of parliament at Bingu International Conference Center in Lilongwe on Monday. She said the debt relief aims to support Malawi amid ongoing challenges in food security, foreign currency, fuel, and medicine. According to Zhou, China is also considering offering preferential fertilizer prices, debt relief measures, and tariff-free access for Malawian aquaculture products. Here's part of what she had to say.
It is only 2 amounts of debts borrowed by Malawi itself, but we have finished the debt restructuring last year. That is the whole package of Malawi borrowings from China. The interest repaying back will be prolonged, and also the money borrowed by Malawi will be prolonged for 48 years. That means we restructure the debt, and so that Malawi government can have the opportunity to collect the resources to pay back that debt in total. But besides that, we give the debt relief for 2, which will be ended, which was ended by the end of 2024, and need to be paid back this year. But we waive it right now. Malawi doesn't have to pay back the borrowing money plus the interest. In total, $20 million US.
President Professor Thabir Mutaliga has outlined the key development priorities, including maize imports, free education, and foreign exchange stability. Speaking at a joint press briefing in Blantyre with Scottish First Minister Right Honourable John Sweeney MSP on Monday, Mutaliga emphasised boosting local food processing, limiting exports, and revisiting German proposals from 2017 to expand rail and water transport. The president also acknowledged challenges faced by farmers due to poor roads and pledged improvements in transport, water, and power infrastructure. More details in this report, followed by Judith Organ.
Mutharika reframed his commitments to strengthening Malawi's agricultural sector, prioritizing support for local processing industries. He highlighted the need to improve transport, infrastructure, road, trail, and waterways to reduce post-harvest losses and boost farm profitability. He also pointed to ongoing efforts to address energy and water supply challenges as part of a broader sustainable development agenda. Recent partnerships with foreign investors, he said, are designed to support long-term economic growth, promote self-reliance, and reduce import dependence while improving livelihoods across both rural and urban communities.
So we have identified what we call the 4 fours. That is forex, fertilizer, fuel, and food. There are 4 key things that we have got to do immediately at the moment. And on the food issue, we already sourced maize from Zambia. In 2 weeks, we shall have completed all the financing arrangements.
First Minister John Winnie has since affirmed that the Scotland-Malawi partnership is helping shift the focus from aid to trade with positive impact in both nations. He reiterated Scotland's commitment to promoting equality, human rights and sustainability development while acknowledging the ongoing challenges Malawi continues to face.
But the relationship between Scotland and Malawi is particularly significant for all of us. A relationship built on 150 years of shared history, yet a relationship which we have strived to modernise to one of shared goals and true partnership for the 21st century. My visit is all the more timely in that this is the 20th anniversary year of the signing of the original cooperation agreement between our two governments in November 2005.
Marking the 20th anniversary of the 2005 cooperation agreement, Sweeney engaged in discussions on health, education, and equality. His visit included meetings with Malawi's first local trained dentists and stops at key institutions like at the Malawi National Development Bank and St. Andrew's Macadamia Farm. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Judith Organ.
You are watching news on Luntha television. You will be back after this short break.
School fees kwa kupheka tsopano. Listen the fees by Airtel Money. Mutakulipira school fees mosavuta kudzera pa foni yanu. Tsatirani ndondomeko zotsatirazi. Choyamba, imbani *211#. Pamene yomwe mutapatsidwe, sankhani 8 kuti mulipire fees. Pitirizani posankha 1 yomwe ndi send fees. Kenako mudzafunsidwa kuti mulowetse admissions number. Kuchoka apo, mudzaona skulu yomwe mukufuna kulipira komanso dzina la ophunzira. Onetsetsani kuti zonse ndi zolondola. Pitirirani ndi kuyika ndalama zomwe mukufuna kulipira. Lembani pini yanu ya Airtel Money kuti muvomereze kulipira. Ndipo nthawi yomweyo mudzalandira SMS yotsimikiza kuti zatheka.
Mwaswera Grace.
Ndaswera kai maive.
Mwagula mabuku kodi?
Ayi ndabwereka ku library.
Kodi yako open secondary school so mmatha kugwiritsa ntchito library ya school?
Ndichina chilichonse tu. Library, labu ya science, ya ICT, komanso maphunziro amakono apa phone, tablet, computer ndi digital learning. Timagwiritsa ntchito notesmaster.com. Ndi chimodzimodzi lophunzira aliyense wa ku secondary school ya boma.
Izi zinthu ndiye zosangalatsa. Maphunziro apamwamba ndithu. Ayi paja sana sankhidwe ndini madankhawa kuti kodi kadi ndipanga bwanji.
Etu, ife tonse amene tinakhonza mayeso a 8 koma sitinasankhidwe kupita ku secondary, munasiyira sukulu ya secondary panjira, kapena mukufuna kutsitsa ma points, dziwani kuti unduna wa maphunziro a primary ndi secondary unakhazikitsa maphunziro a open secondary schools ngati njira imodzi yowonjezera mwayi wa maphunziro apamwamba kudzera msukulu za secondary za m'madera athu kumene kuli aphunzitsi odziwa ntchito yawo bwino komanso zipangizo zapamwamba zoyenera pa maphunziro. Musazengereze, kalembetsani lero ku open secondary school ya mdera lanu kuti mupeze maphunziro apamwamba.
Uthengawu akukupatsirani ndi unduna wa maphunziro aku primary ndi secondary kudzera ku Equals Project ndi thandizo la ndalama lochokera ku World Bank.
Welcome back. A reminder of the top stories before we proceed. Pope Leo XIV emphasizes faith as source of hope for heaven at canonization mass. Chinese government forgives $20 million United States dollars debt, extends repayment by 48 years for Malawi. Newly elected members of parliament encouraged to set aside party lines for Malawi's future. And in other news, the former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga laid to rest amid political uncertainty. Moving on with the news, the newly elected members of parliament have been urged to rise above party lines and focus on national development. Making the remarks during day one of the 5-day parliamentary orientations in Lilongwe on Monday, Clerk of Parliament Fiona Kalemba called for transformative leadership that delivers meaningful change through strong legislation and accountability. Echoing this were AFDEP's Dr. Elia Zulu, who challenged MPs to think beyond party manifestos and embrace a unified national vision, and UN resident representative Rebecca Adadonto, who emphasized the need for collective action to tackle Malawi's economic challenges, stressing that the country's future depends on cooperation over partisanship. More details in this report, followed by Gift Kalwanga.
The 5-day workshop, taking place from October 20 to 24, 2025, at the Bingu International Convention Center, BICC, is being held under the theme of empowering parliamentarians for impactful legislation, governance, and transformative leadership. Speaking to Luntha News, Deputy Clerk of Parliament, Joseph Emanzi, emphasized that the election period is behind and the focus must now shift to action. He reminded the newly elected MPs of their core duties: legislation, oversight, representation, and urged them to enact laws and policies that bring real measurable benefits to all Malawians.
Serving the nation through parliament, it means a service to Malawians. Now the expectation from parliament is that for them to do the job diligently and effectively, efficiently, they need to follow the rules of procedure.
Dr. Elias Siapazi Zulu, Executive Director of African Institute for Development Policy, AFDEP, highlighted Malawi's key challenges, including food insecurity, slow economic growth, and unemployment, despite rich resources. With the population expected to reach 44 million by 2063, he urged urgent investment in education, health, and job creation. Dr. Zulu also called for stronger accountability and a crackdown on corruption, stressing that every kwacha should be properly spent.
I think the main advice centered on the MPs recognizing that there's a lot of weight on them that Malawians have put. A lot of Malawians have a lot of hope. Malawians didn't just want to change leadership. Malawians want to see change in the way we do our development business. They want to see change in their lives. So the leaders need to recognize that they are there to bring about that change, and for them to do so, they have to apply evidence, because at AFDEP we promote evidence use in decision making. They have to understand what are really the problems. Why is it that despite all the efforts, we go 2 steps forward, 1 step back? In the end, Malawians' well-being is not improving that much.
Delivering the keynote address, United Nations Resident Coordinator Rebecca Adadonto described Parliament as the cornerstone of good governance and called on MPs to act as agents of change. She emphasized the critical role legislators must play in achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, with poverty eradication as a top priority.
Malawi is facing very many development challenges, and MPs will have to collaborate across party lines to really, with urgency, take Malawi away from where it is now.
The orientation workshop brought together members of parliament from all regions, including those from ruling party, opposition parties, and independents. The exercise included both newly elected legislators and returning MPs. The members of parliament are scheduled to take their oath on 27th and 28th October, while President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is expected to officially open the 52nd session of Parliament on 31st October 2025. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
Education analyst Ilagembewe has urged the government to ensure that proper structures and resources are in place as it plans to implement free primary and secondary education in all government schools across Malawi. According to Mbewe, the Democratic Progressive Party DPP administration deserves credit for fulfilling its campaign promise to make education free, a move he described as a positive step towards improving access to education for all Malawians. Emmanuel Georgia with the details.
During the campaign period, the DPP pledged to introduce free education once elected into government. On Sunday, President Professor Peter Mutharika announced that beginning January 2026, parents with children in government primary and secondary schools will no longer be required to pay school fees. In an interview with Luntha television, Mbewe welcomed the announcement, saying it came at the right time and would give the education sector enough time to make necessary preparations for a smooth transition. He, however, cautioned implementation of free education requires substantial resources and coordination. Mbewe emphasized the need for the government to strengthen funding mechanisms and ensure adequate learning materials, infrastructure, and teacher support.
Confirmation of investment of that is positive news, especially that it's coming later in the year or early in 2026, giving them ample time to work on some few nitty-gritties. And for that reason, we would like to call upon the Democratic Progressive Party and the government to make sure that as they plan to commence the commitment made, they need to look at one or two issues to ensure quality is maintained.
He further encouraged collaboration between the Ministry of Education, development partners, and local communities to ensure the success of the program, noting that sustainable investments in the sector is vital for the country's future development. For Luntha News, in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Chiwocha.
During a recent media tour facilitated by Norwegian Church Ed and Dan Church Ed, Luntha Television visited Kasungu to explore the lasting impact of the Transform project, which focused on enhancing livelihoods through sustainable food systems and rural agricultural transformation. One notable change observed was the shift in operations by members of the Chisomo Producers Club in Katopola village, traditional authority Sante. Once part of the project's incubator initiative, the group has since dissolved due to reduced profit margins, largely attributed to an oversupply of tomatoes in the area. Despite this, local farmers have not given up. Instead, many have transitioned to running individual family-level farming ventures. Sam Kalimba has more details in this report.
Isaac Folobens is the project coordinator for the Transform under Educare. He has been with Mr. Foster Geminat for the past 5 years. It used to be Chisomo Club, but now it's a family of Mr. and Mrs. Geminat. From an incubator to a garden that Mr. Geminat and his wife now are taking care. According to Isaac Folopens, this caused no worry because the disbandment of a club after a project is still a positive component of the project because wherever the members are going, they are disseminating and practicing what they learned. Foster Geminat tells us how it went about and how he's benefiting from the proceeds made out of the incubator as well as his garden.
yomatani yomakolera somba usana atipatse somba zenzenezo ifata choka sitikadyaso somba zija koma tiphunzirani uwedza ife ejiketani tipitisa binditu.
We asked Isaac Philippines to check whether it's proper to have a club that has disbanded in a project as it is ending. But for him, he says this is proper and it's even better because it's like a chicken which harbored some eggs and now laid the eggs. The chicks have now grown wings.
To realize profits, so this put back the farmers. And the other challenge was the pests and diseases. Sometimes the farmers were unable to control pests and diseases and end up losing their crop. But we have seen that some farmers have gone through that and they are able today to tell a story.
Transform project is funded by the NCA DCA, which is Norwegian Church Aid and Dan Church Aid in Malawi, through the Norwegian Embassy. I am Sam Kalimba from Sante.
And in other news, the former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga was buried Sunday at his rural home as the country, which has previously been marred by post-election violence and anti-government protests, faces political uncertainty. Kenyan leaders present at the burial, including President William Ruto, who signed a political pact with Odinga early this year, talked about the need for Odinga's ODM party to remain united and either form or join the next government after the 2027 election. We have an African News report read by Patrick Popper.
Democracy reformer Odinga was accorded full military honors that included a 17-gun chariot by the army. He was buried next to his father, who fought for Kenya's independence and was the country's first vice president. Thousands of Kenyans and dignitaries from across Africa attended the final interment of a man described as a selfless pan-Africanist. The wearing mourners breached a security cordon to gain access to the burial site, which was initially only for family members and leaders. Odinga, 80, died in India on Wednesday, where he was receiving medical treatment. His body was received by thousands of mourners in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, on Thursday. 4 public viewing events have been held in the past few days, attracting thousands of mourners and leaving 5 people dead and 100 injured during stampedes.
That African News report read by Patrick Popper also brings us to the end of our today's bulletin, but let's have a recap of the top stories before we go. Pope Leo XIV emphasizes faith as source of hope for heaven at canonization mass. Chinese government forgives $20 million United States dollars debt, extends repayment by 48 years for Malawi. Newly elected members of parliament encouraged to set aside party lines for Malawi's future. And in other news, the former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga laid to rest amid political uncertainty. You've been with me, Charity Jilanga. Thanks so much for keeping me company and continue enjoying the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. Till next time, stay blessed.